Welcome to another Q&A where I answer your guys' burning, boring, or otherwise existing questions. If you want a chance to see your question answered, make sure to leave it down below. I think my next edition, I'm going to try and do a rapid fire edition where I answer as many questions as I can super quickly. And before I get to the questions, I just want to point out this shirt. My mom got it for me. I really like it. It's comfortable. And on that note, let's get started on the questions. Don't forget to bop that like button and high five that subscribe button. First question, why do you not have more subscribers? I think I am a relatively small channel. I've been putting a lot more effort into my videos and being consistent and trying to have higher quality uploads throughout. I think it's just putting in the time and time on YouTube as well. So hopefully over time I'll be able to grow a little bit bigger. But I think honestly my channel I'm happy where it's at. I think I recently reached 13,000, which is super exciting. Did you get your glasses from Harry Potter? No, I did not, because these don't break. And I think the ones that Harry has are perfectly circular. Mine are kind of semicircular. Are you Slytherin? I took the Pottermore test and one time I did get Slytherin, or not one time, the most recent time I got Slytherin, and I do have a pin. I'll find it and be back. I got this on my senior trip to Disneyland. I don't actually know which one it is, the one in Florida. And yeah, Slytherin. Best Harry Potter book. I don't know what Harry Potter is, but I think this person meant Harry Potter. And I think my favorite, I'm looking that way because they're over there. I think my favorite is probably the 7th one. It was really, really good. From where you got your name and what's the meaning of your name? Well, I was a baby when I got my name. I got it from my parents, so I didn't really have a choice in that. I didn't really know what it means. So yeah, I think most people don't really choose their names as they're 0 years old when they get it. Can you rap Guns and Ships? If so, please do it. I don't actually know the lyrics, but I think I could rap it if I tried. Let me find the lyrics. I feel like this is gonna go terribly, but I'm taking this horse by the reins, make red coats red with blood stains. Lafayette, I'm never gonna stop until I make him drop and burn him up and scatter the remains. I'm Lafayette. And then there's more. Yeah. Hamilton's fun. Opinion on Childish Gambino. I don't know who this is. Don't at me. Is this pop person, rap person? So no opinions, don't know who this is. What do you do when you run out of video ideas? That's how I imagine this question being read. I usually have a list of videos that I want to do in the future, and anytime I get an idea I sort of add it to the queue, and anytime I run out of ideas, I haven't run out of ideas in a while, but I'll try and update some new stuff, maybe do some breakdowns and solves. Those are relatively easier in terms of coming up with the actual content, though I think they're just as helpful. I don't know. Hopefully I'll be able to be creative enough to come up with ideas for the foreseeable future. In all caps. We get to yell this one. Which video editing app you use to edit all your cubing videos? I use iMovie. And I usually record my audio with Audacity. So freeze for me. Would you rather be Bill Gates or the world champion? Definitely Bill Gates. He owns Microsoft. He's an amazing philanthropist. He's been doing great things in the world. And yeah, definitely Bill Gates, 100% here. The world champion would be pretty cool too. I think both are pretty unrealistic for me, as Bill Gates is another person and who knows when the next world will be. But yeah, amongst all cubers, who do you like? Most of them. Most cubers are friendly people. I'm friends with most cubers. I think there's not like beef or whatever amongst the cubing community that often. So yeah, most cubers, friends with. Why don't you do solve critiques? Question mark, exclamation, question mark. I think solve critiques are great, but I definitely don't have the time for them because they are pretty time intensive, having to go through, figure out what people need to work on and things like that. If I were to do solve critiques, I would definitely have to charge for them because it is a large portion of my time and my time is super valuable. So that's just it. Mostly just time. Yeah. Who is the best Spider-Man of all three? Gotta say Tom Holland. Tom Holland is awesome. Also, surprisingly, he's not much older than me. He's like 2 years older than me or something. On a related hand, do you like Spider-Man? Yeah, I like Tom Holland. Do you like Tom Holland? Yeah, I like Spider-Man. Do you know blindfolded? Blindfolded who? But actually, I know how to do it blindfolded. I just don't think I've ever had the urge/motivation to sit down and actually learn to do it, I guess, fully. What do you average on Squan? I don't. I recently got bored one day and picked one up and tried to do parody, and I've apparently forgotten how to do parody, so I can only solve it if there's no parody. Will you be focusing on Pyraminx more now that GAN, Instagram cut this off, so I'm going to assume this says that GAN released a GAN Pyraminx. I don't think focusing is the right word for it, but I will. I haven't yet, but I do plan on getting a little bit faster at Pyraminx. We shall see. The Pyraminx itself is really nice, so that's definitely a motivating factor. So definitely solving it more, but not focusing on it. It's not definitely, I don't think it's going to become my main event or anything. Do you think that smart cubes are going to be the future of cube competitions? I actually think that's a really interesting question because the Red Bull qualifiers have all been done using the Go cube where the Rubik's connected, and it's really cool because I guess you could hack the cube, but there's no way to sort of cheat on the time because the cube itself tells you when it's scrambled and solved, which is really cool. It could be interesting to have these cubes used for online competitions, but I imagine they are going to be a bit more expensive and not as many people have them, and the cubes themselves aren't as on par with other flagships out out there. So it could be, but currently in its current state, I don't think so. Currently in its current state, that's a really dumb statement. How often do you reset your session? I actually used to reset my sessions a lot. If I had sort of an average of 5 or something that I was unhappy with, just reset, start over. But I've started to do much longer sessions. I probably reset them now once a year. I have a really big session for all the events I've been practicing this year. And this is kind of, because every time you reset your session, you're sort of tossing aside yourselves like, oh, those don't matter, those don't matter. But they do matter. If you made mistakes in them, you want those to count in your overall average. So my average over my current session is, I think, really close to what I truly average on 3x3, whereas I'm not tossing out, I guess, bad solves. Yeah, I definitely used to reset it more though. What is the future of cubing? What would you like to see in cubing? That's a really big question. To be optimistic, I hope the future of cubing is, again, in person, and some countries have been able to have competitions, which is really, really awesome. What would you like to see in cubing? I think... I don't even know. That's also a really big question. Yeah, I don't really have an answer for this. Oops. Do you play any sports? I play tennis. Currently not particularly because, group activities are frowned upon, at least in the United States. But in the past, I've played, don't at me, but I played basketball. I did softball, cross country. I did play tennis, martial arts, and gymnastics. And I think I said those in order of when I started them, from when I was like 6 years old to now. And I guess running, if that's a sport, though I already kind of said cross country. Yeah, I like being active. I've probably said it before, but exercise is nice and it makes me feel better after exercising. What's your favorite musical? And then his is either Newsies or Hunchback of Notre Dame. That's a really hard one because I like a lot of them. I'll say 2. I think my favorite contemporary musical is Heathers, and my favorite older musical is Phantom. Just incredible songs, okay, maybe the plot's kind of weird in a lot of musicals, but incredible cast, incredible soundtracks, and there's so many more, but I would have to say these 2 for now. Keaton says, or asks, at what point did you realize that you would never be 5? And since Keaton is asking this, I'm gonna assume the bottom says feet tall. For reference, I'm technically like 4'11" and 3/4 of an inch, so I'm not technically 5 feet, okay? The fact that my parents are both about my height pretty much gave it away when I was little. I didn't expect to be tall, and I'm okay with it. See, if the sky falls first, wow. If the sky falls, it's gonna fall on people like Keaton first, who's taller than me. Thoughts on Popeye's chicken sandwich? I don't think I've ever had one. I think the closest thing I've probably had is Chick-fil-A. I don't really eat out a lot. I like chicken sandwiches. I guess if that's a solution, if you remove the Popeyes part. I don't think I've been to Popeyes before. Is the world record will be once unbeatable? The way I read it doesn't really make any sense, but I imagine they're asking, will the world record ever be unbeatable? I think so. I don't think we've reached that point yet. The times have gotten super, super low, and the time between breaking world records has increased. If you look at like the 3x3 single and the average, they haven't been broken for a while, I believe. I don't know. There probably is a lower limit to what humans can feasibly do, and I don't know if that will ever be reached in competition. So that's an interesting thing to think about, and this might be a better question to think about or come back to in like 10, 20 years. Obviously, I may not come back to it, but that would be something interesting to think about. Because maybe even 5 years from now, like what, in 2011 was the 5? That's not 5 years, but in 2011 was Felix's 566. We were all like, oh my god, this is never going to be broken, and now the average is faster than that, which is incredible. How to practice more ZBLLs? This question was answered in the question. Practice, but also making sure to drill them and practice them often enough, sort of all of the ZBLLs that you know, so that you don't forget any. I find myself guilty of this sometimes. If I get a little bit lazy, I'll just cube for a week without actually practicing any ZBLLs, and I'll sort of get rusty on some of them. So just make sure to practice all the ZBLLs you know to get them in your muscle memory so that you can recognize them and execute them just as easily as OLL and PLL, which you probably know pretty well if you're looking to learn ZBLL. How many cubes can a non-cuber cube if a non-cuber could cube cubes? I don't have an answer for it, so I'm just going to read it 3 times fast. How many cubes can a non-cuber cube if a non-cuber could cube cubes? How many cubers could a non-cube cube if a non-cuber could cube cubes? How many cubes could a non-cuber cube if a non-cuber could cube cubes? Close enough. I don't have an answer, so I attempted to read it 3 times fast. You define success by achieving a goal. Do you define failure the same way? Oftentimes, you find happiness or joy in something you never thought would. I feel like this is really deep. Failure can be defined in different levels, whether it be in being unable to attain a goal, something not coming out the way you see it coming out, Per person and per goal, failure is defined differently, although it shouldn't discourage you, and learn from your mistakes. That was a really cliche ending to a pretty deep question. So let's move on. Why are your hands so big? I really hope this person is kidding. My hands are really, really small. They're probably the size of an average 10-year-old's hand. I'm not even kidding. It's impossible. Not impossible. It's really difficult for me to do big cubes, but I like them somehow for whatever reason. This person is really funny. Ha ha ha. Why have I never seen you do H? Probably because I don't do OH. I always have been saying I'll get into at one point, but it's kind of late now, and we'll see. Maybe, maybe not, probably not. What is your favorite finger? All of them? I don't want to lose any of them. Have you ever taken a break from cubing? If so, why and how long was it? Officially, I took a break probably from the beginning of 2014 to the end of 2015, so about 2 years. And for me, that was sophomore year of high school. So it was due to academics and sort of not having enough time and not having great time management skills. So yeah, because of school. What do you think of the new speed cubing documentary that is about to come out? This question was left a while ago on one of my Q&A videos, so I have a reaction video of it actually, and it's really awesome. I loved it. Great documentary, great filming, great editing, great story. And it's on Netflix, which is absolutely incredible. Awesome, awesome, awesome. In a previous Q&A, you asked, who is J-Perm? I'll do you one better. Why is J-Perm? I know this isn't the order of the conversation that it's supposed to go, but I'll do you one better. How is J-Perm? What is your favorite headphones and what is your favorite stack mat? Let's see. So the headphones that I use regularly are the free ones that came with my phone, the AKG ones. They're actually really nice. I use them for listening to music, monitoring audio on my videos. What else? I really like these. I have the Bose QC35s, the noise canceling ones. I got them right before my trip to, I forgot the country, Spain, for Euros 2018. Wore them on the plane. Incredible. Crying babies, put them on. No more crying babies. And they're super comfortable. I love music and I love headphones. I know these don't have the greatest headphone quality, but they're good enough, and I don't really want to spend $6,000 on those like studio headphones. Maybe in the future I'll invest in a pair of higher quality headphones, but these are pretty good for me for now. What's your favorite stack mat? The ones that we use at competitions. I don't think you can really choose, because those are the only ones that we use for competitions. So the stack mat ones. Why is the font so tiny? I have many habits I'm trying to enforce during solves. Should I go about enforcing them one at a time, or will the difficulty in focusing at many things at once make them blend into my solves naturally? Interesting question. Your brain is only so powered, I guess, if you think of what it can focus on. So in a solve, you shouldn't be trying to look ahead, pseudo slot, triple X cross, skip OLL at the same time. So cubing is a progression thing. I think it's better to focus on one thing at a time and get that one thing down, so you sort of don't have to think about that one thing and then move on. So for example, get down looking for cross +1 consistently in your solves, and then once you're able to do that with relatively low effort, then move on to trying to make your F12 smoother, or that's probably not a good order of stuff because cross +1 is pretty difficult compared to general F12 look ahead. But separating your cubing progression into steps I think is a good idea. Is cubes getting too complicated with tensioning systems? Are cubes? Okay. Anyway, I think so, though I am kind of lazy about setting up my cubes now, to be completely honest. The most intensive setup I've ever done is switching the color of the GES nuts from the stock purple to yellow, and occasionally putting some lube in my cubes. I don't think they're too complicated if you want to learn them, because they do allow you the freedom of tensioning the springs, tensioning the screws, and things like that. I just personally haven't really bothered with them. Yeah, thank you very much for your better cubing videos. You're welcome, I'm glad you enjoyed them. What is your PB at home? Honestly, no clue, but for this year so far, I think it's a 430 something, because I do have all my solves from this year saved in a CS timer session. Do you really react to a 4-second solve where they're like, period? That's with no apostrophe, good, period. I think I do a little reaction depending on what kind of 4 it is. For example, if it's a last layer 4, I'm just like, okay, fine, that was a last layer skip. But if it was a full step or I did something really clever, I'm like, oh, that was really good, and I'll go back and see what I did for that. Surprisingly, or not surprisingly, I don't have a 4 on cam yet. I haven't been recording a lot of my solves lately, but hopefully we can do that in the future and I can break some down, and hopefully it's not just a last layer skip with a mediocre F2L. But yeah, so it depends on the type of solve as to why it was 4 seconds. Was it 4 seconds because I got super lucky, or was it 4 seconds because I did something super smart? If I did something super smart, I'm usually like, wow, go me. If I got super lucky, I'm like, alright. Why is Java so wonky? No clue. If you figure it out, hit me up, let me know. What team are you rooting for to win the NBA playoffs? Is that baseball or football? I'm just kidding, I know that's basketball. But I don't know any teams, and also I don't know if they're having playoffs now that the virus happened. So no is my answer to this question. Lastly, what is the meaning of life? That's a really deep question, and since it's the last question, I'll try and give a real answer instead of saying 42. And again, I looked over there because I have Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy over there. Let's see. I want to say the meaning of life is being truly happy with what you have. It doesn't matter how much money, how many friends, blah blah blah, whatever. It's you being truly happy with what you have and making the most of everything that you have. And on that optimistic note, thanks for watching my Q&A. That was 40 questions, I believe. If you have any burning, boring, or otherwise existent questions, make sure to leave them down below, and I'll try and get to them in my next Q&A or a later one. And I've got some really cool announcements coming next Tuesday, so stick around and I'll see you guys.
Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, and subscribe for the latest content.